USA soccer fans, football fans, Bobby Cardenas coming at you from Lancaster, California. Okay, so today we had more games for the Under 20 Women's World Cup taking place in Canada. We had Brazil versus USA, and USA won 1-0 late in the game. I think it was past the 80th minute that we scored. And we won. We needed it because we lost badly to Germany in the first game. Canada, in actually one of the best games of the tournament so far that I've seen, came back to beat Finland. It was a game of two halves, as we in football speak of sometimes. The first half belonged to Finland. They scored right away within like the first 3 minutes. And then by the 20th, I think 21st minute, they were up 2-0. Then the second half, Canada came back. 48th minute, I think it was the 70th minute. No, 48th minute, and then a few minutes after that, they scored the equalizer, and then later in the game, they went up and won, which is good for the host nation. Now, the Chinese-Germany game, which I still haven't seen, but I know, I happen to know the score. Why? Because when you're watching the other games, they tell you the scores of the other games, and I hate that. I talked about that in one of my earlier posts. So anyway, I know the score, but I'm probably going to still watch it. I have it recorded. 5-5, China and Germany. Holy moly! What a game. Okay, and USA women's play China next Tuesday. So watch that. There's another game that I didn't get a chance to see yet, a friendly between Tottenham Hotspurs, the Barclays Premier League, and Schalke 04 of the German Bundesliga, Deutschland Bundesliga. So I still got to watch that. And I watched part of the Barcelona friendly earlier. Barcelona wiped them out. It was a Finnish team, I think. Wasn't it? I got to go back and look. Anyway. But the big game tomorrow morning, you can't miss this game. The Community Shield between Manchester City, and Arsenal FC for the Community Shield, which is the first major silverware trophy in the Barclays Premier League, because next week starts the regular season. But this pits Man City, winner of the league, against last season, against Arsenal, who won the FA Cup. It's going to be a great game. They're going to come out with all of their guns. In the case of Arsenal, the Gunners. Hey, hello. Pun intended. So watch the game. Referees' questions and whatnot. I haven't received anything recently. But something came up in my league, actually, last week that I want to touch on. And it's kind of funny. Well, not funny, but it's ironic that last week on Saturday, right before our first games at 8 o'clock, I met with our referees. I touched on something. I said, based on my insurance company's coverage that I have to have every season, we do our league. And part of this year's coverage included a questionnaire on my part on whether or not I had a plan instituted in case of head injuries, possible concussions. So I said, of course I do. And I do. So I talked to my referees last week and I said, look, if during the game a player gets hit in their head anywhere in this area, and you have the slightest feeling that they may have been concussed, suffered a concussion, they're off the field, they no longer play in the game. And if it's really serious, I have to know, and we have to deal with it medically, right? So ironically, last week in our game between the FC Kamikazes and the FC Cobras, there was a collision. And one of the girls from FC Cobras suffered a hit to the head. And they called me. I happened to be in the middle of the fields, and they yelled at me, Robert, you have an ice pack? Yes, of course. I have my medical bag at the field at all times with everything, bandages, aspirins, cold pack, everything, cold spray, all that stuff. So I ran out there with a cold pack, and they told me that she got hit in the head. And I looked at her and I said, and I told the referee, Angel Leo, and I said, all right, she's off. And he said, yeah. So boom, she was off the field. So today, I'm talking to the manager of the team, Martha, a very good friend of mine, Martha Delaney. She told me that the girl suffered, and I don't want to say her name. So this was last Saturday, right, during the day. Sunday morning, she wakes up and she's throwing up. She's feeling queasy. Her head hurts. Take her to the hospital. Yeah, hello. You suffered a concussion. Well, the night before Saturday, when she wasn't feeling very, very well, her mother said, oh, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. I got news for you. Anytime someone gets hit in the head and they're out of it for a little bit, even just a slight amount of time, they have no idea where they're at. They don't know what just occurred. They're getting up. They're woozy. You have to assume that they have been concussed. And you should take them to the hospital right away, urgent care, whatever. Make sure they're all right. Because the effects can be felt afterwards, and they can be dire. If a blood clot forms, I don't even want to go into what can possibly happen with a concussion. But you have to take it seriously. And I'm glad we did, in the sense that she didn't play anymore in the game. Unlike in the World Cup, when some of the players came back on the field. So food for thought. Any of you people out there, I got something in my, where the hell did that come from? Probably a little gnat floating around right here in my garage. Seriously. Any of you that are out there involved in any sport, soccer, football, basketball, I don't care what sport it is, especially if you're a parent and a coach and a league administrator and you're dealing with children, okay? Treat head injuries seriously and deal with them medically, in the sense that they're off the field. You analyze what's going on, and if you have the slightest doubt that this could be more serious than what you might think initially, take them to the hospital, take them to urgent care. Better to err on the side of safety. They're your children you're talking about. Okay? All right, that's it. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll do another post. Look, one of my Black League shirts with the AFL. Ooh, this thing's bright now, shiny. Okay, so what do we say? Be safe. And say no to racism. And go USA.